Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to be talking about the extended essay and just things, tips, I don't really have any tricks, but just tips because I've been through it, and if you're doing the IB you're going to go through it, and if you're not doing the IB I'm not entirely sure why you'd be watching this video, but at the same time, welcome friend, hello. Tip 1 of the extended essay would be to start thinking about your question literally as early as possible. It took me so long to think of a decent question. I already knew the subject I wanted to do. I already knew roughly the topic, so I already knew that. But even so, wording and phrasing the question took me about 2 weeks with my teacher's help. It was ridiculous. I mean, some people got lucky and their question was really easily worded and whatever, but for me at least, I just know. And also, not just the question, start thinking about, as soon as you're in the IB you need to start thinking about what subject you want to do, what topic, anything. And if you already know what you want to do for university, then you should try and make sure that your essay fits as much as possible with that. So for me, I want to study law, and there's no law subject in the IB, so I couldn't do a law essay as such. But what I did is I did a history essay comparing a ancient legal document to another legal document, which is also quite old, but not as old. I'm not telling you what my topic is because I don't want anyone to steal it, and I'm quite proud of it, and I had a lot of fun doing it. But I managed to take two legal documents and say how they affected different situations, which in a way ties into law as much as it can because there's no law subject, like I said. Tip number 2, unless you absolutely love science and you're really good at writing things such as science internal assessments, science papers, I would suggest steering away from a science extended essay unless you want to go into the field of science, which kudos to you, go and do that and try your best. But the science extended essays are almost exactly the same thing as the science IAs in the sense that you have to do your own research. You can't take research from someone else, as you could for history, for example. For me and Keely particularly, our rude.
Ice cream!
For me and Keely, our biology teacher actually told us, not told us, he pretty much begged us not to do the biology extended essay because it would just be an extra level of stress considering that the biology IA is already ridiculously hard, especially for people who have never done something like that before. Tip number 3, choose your supervisor well. Make sure that not only are they good at their subject, but you trust them to actually give you helpful tips that you can understand. And also you need to make sure that your supervisor isn't too busy that they won't actually give you back feedback very often, because you need as much feedback as humanly possible. You should also make sure that the person you choose has supervised before, so if there's a new teacher in your school doing a subject, you might want to steer away from them if they haven't done supervising before because they won't necessarily know what it entails, which could be detrimental for both of you as your progress kind of reflects on both of you. Tip number 4, start researching as soon as you have your question, and don't even try and start writing your essay until you have all of your research and you have your essay formulated in your head. Once you have your research, then you can go on and do other things. Tip number 5, make sure that you keep your research together somewhere. No matter how you do it, just make sure all your research is in the same place. So for Keely, she had all her research on a document, and make sure you keep the website that you got it from or the book or whatever, make sure you remember where you got that information from, because if you don't remember where you got it from, you can't use it in your essay because that's plagiarism. Whether you have a document with citation information, etc., or whether you have, such as I did, I had note cards where I would write down bullet points of information from my sources, and then on the same card I would write down the citation, and that would be, I was done. I would never lose that because if I lost the citation I would also lose the research, and therefore I wouldn't be plagiarizing. Tip number 6. Tip number 6, make your plan as detailed as possible. I don't know if your teachers have used the term skeleton plan, but that's absolute rubbish. Do not do a skeleton plan unless from your skeleton plan you then make a detailed plan, because if you do not have a detailed plan then your essay is going to go all over the place, and if you have a plan you kind of know how much you have to write so you can work with the constraints such as the word limit, and you can just go from there. If you don't have a plan, your essay will not be very well formulated, and when you get it back from your supervisor to go and edit it, there'll be a lot more to edit, and it will be like writing a whole second essay rather than just editing the essay you already have. Tip 7, just do the essay. Just do it. I don't know about other schools. I think some schools do it earlier, but for our school, they let us do our essay over summer, and quite frankly, some people did not do it over summer, and then they were so stressed coming back. Kind of like what you could see in our how not to spend your summer video. They looked like that. Just write your essay over summer. Even if you get a bit stuck, just write something and then casually mention to your supervisor that you got stuck, and then they'll be understanding and they'll help you from where you were stuck. But you still want to have a completed essay by the time that you are expected to have a completed essay by, because not only will you be stressed if you don't have it, your teachers will be stressed and they'll be worried for you because they want you to do well. They're not paid for you to do badly, they're paid for you to do well, and they want you to succeed, otherwise they wouldn't be a teacher, or they shouldn't be a teacher. That's really all for this video. I might go into depth a little bit later about maybe the history extended essay if you think that would be helpful, because that's what I've done. Keely has done a psychology extended essay, so she could go into depth about that in a later video. So yeah, bye!